The morning of my college graduation was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it became the day I finally accepted a painful truth. My name is Emily Carter, and for as long as I could remember, I had lived in the shadow of my younger sister, Madison. It didn't matter what I achieved. Madison was always the priority. When I was 10 years old and won the state spelling bee, my parents congratulated me with a quick hug before rushing to Madison's dance recital. When I made the varsity soccer team, they missed my first game because Madison had a birthday party. When I received a full academic scholarship to one of California's best film schools, my father simply nodded. "That's nice." Then he turned to Madison. "So, which beach resort do you want for your graduation vacation next year?" That was my family. No matter what happened, Madison always came first. At first, I convinced myself they didn't mean it. They're busy. They're stressed. They love us equally. But actions tell the truth words try to hide. Thankfully, someone else's parents filled the empty spaces in my life. My best friend, Sarah Mitchell, had been with me since middle school. Her parents, David and Lisa Mitchell, treated me like another daughter. Whenever I had an award ceremony, they came. Whenever I had a birthday, they showed up. Whenever I cried, their door was always open. Mrs. Mitchell used to tell me, "Family isn't always the people who gave birth to you. Sometimes it's the people who choose you." At 18, I didn't fully understand what she meant. At 22, I finally did. Graduation week arrived. 4 years of sleepless nights. Countless projects. 3 internships. And endless sacrifices had finally paid off. Not only was I graduating with honors, but my senior thesis film had won the university's highest filmmaking award. Even bigger, a major Hollywood production company had selected my short film from over 12,000 student submissions nationwide. The executives would attend graduation. They planned to announce a special mentorship program live after the ceremony. No one knew who would receive it. Not even me. 2 weeks before graduation, I mailed elegant invitations to my parents. I even handwrote a letter. "I know we've had our differences, but having you there would mean everything to me." 3 days later, Mom called. "Oh, honey." About graduation. I smiled. "You're coming?" Silence. Madison has been really overwhelmed lately. My smile disappeared. "So?" She wants a family vacation before she starts college. Dad already booked a luxury resort in Hawaii. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My graduation is the same day. I know. You knew before booking? Sweetheart. Graduations happen every year. I felt my chest tighten. But family vacations don't. Those words shattered something inside me. "So you're choosing a beach over your daughter?" Mom sighed as though I were being difficult. "Don't make this dramatic. We'll celebrate with you later." Later. Always later. Always second. I quietly replied, "Okay." Then I hung up. For nearly an hour, I just stared at the wall. No tears. No anger. Just emptiness. That evening Sarah came over. Without saying a word, she hugged me. After listening to everything, Mr. Mitchell smiled gently. "Do you have extra graduation tickets?" "Yeah. Then we'd be honored to come. Mrs. Mitchell squeezed my hand. We've never missed one of Sarah's milestones. We're certainly not missing yours. I burst into tears. Not because my parents abandoned me, but because someone else's parents chose me. Graduation day arrived. Thousands of families filled the stadium. Parents waved balloons. Grandparents cried. Children ran across the lawn. Every graduate searched the audience for familiar faces. I searched too. Deep inside, a small part of me still hoped. Maybe they'd surprise me. Maybe they'd walk in at the last minute. Maybe they'd finally choose me. But my parents never came. Instead, Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell stood together in the front section, holding a handmade sign. Congratulations, Emily. We're proud of you. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't expensive. But it meant more than anything money could buy. During the ceremony, every time I looked toward them, they smiled. They cheered louder than anyone else. When my name was announced, Mrs. Mitchell cried. Mr. Mitchell stood up clapping before everyone else. At that moment, I realized something. Love isn't measured by biology. It's measured by presence. After the diplomas were handed out, the university president stepped back onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated for one final announcement. A group of executives walked onto the stage. Among them was Richard Lawson, the CEO of Titan Pictures, one of Hollywood's biggest studios. Millions were watching the live television broadcast. Richard smiled. This year, one graduate has reminded us why storytelling matters. The winner of our Emerging Vision Award is... He paused. Emily Carter. The stadium exploded. I froze. Did I hear correctly? Sarah screamed. The Mitchells were jumping up and down. I walked onto the stage shaking. Richard handed me a beautiful crystal trophy. Then he said words that changed my life forever. Emily, your talent is extraordinary. But we'd also like to honor the people who stood beside you. Would Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell please join us on stage? The audience applauded. The Mitchells looked completely shocked. They slowly walked up. Richard smiled. We asked Emily who inspired her. She didn't mention famous directors. She didn't mention celebrities. She mentioned two ordinary people who believed in her when no one else did. Mrs. Mitchell immediately began crying. Richard continued. Great artists need great supporters. So today, Titan Pictures would like to thank you. A giant screen behind us lit up. The words appeared. The Mitchell Family Mentorship Fund. Then another line. $500,000. The audience gasped. Richard explained. This fund will help aspiring young filmmakers from disadvantaged families. It will be managed in partnership with David and Lisa Mitchell. The stadium erupted. People stood. They clapped for nearly 3 minutes. Millions watching on live television witnessed everything. The cameras showed me hugging the Mitchells. The internet immediately fell in love with the story. No one knew where my real parents were. Until someone recognized them. They were sitting beside a hotel pool in Hawaii, watching the ceremony on a television. According to later reports, my mother's face turned completely white. My father couldn't speak. Madison reportedly whispered. Wait. They just gave them $500,000? News websites began sharing headlines. Student honors friend's parents after being abandoned. Chosen family receives emotional tribute. Within hours, the story went viral worldwide. I was still giving interviews when my phone started vibrating. Mom. Ignored. Dad. Ignored. Madison. Ignored. Voicemail after voicemail. Text after text. I'm sorry. We made a mistake. Please answer. By midnight. 78 missed calls. The next morning, there were over 200 messages. Not once during 4 years of college had they called just to ask how I was doing. Now, they couldn't stop calling. A week later they appeared outside my apartment. Mom burst into tears. We didn't know T would become this. I calmly replied. It became this because of what you chose. Dad lowered his head. We're your parents. I nodded. Biologically. But parenting isn't a title. It's a commitment. Mrs. Mitchell had taught me that. Dad reached toward me. I want another chance. I looked at him for a long moment. Then answered honestly. Maybe someday. But today, I'm spending time with the people who never missed a single important moment. I turned around. Inside the apartment, the Mitchell family was waiting with dinner already on the table. Laughing. Talking. Saving me a seat. For the first time in my life, I knew exactly where I belonged. Years later, my first feature film premiered in Hollywood. The dedication at the end wasn't for my parents. It simply read, To David and Lisa Mitchell. Thank you for proving that real family is built with love, not blood. The audience stood and applauded. And somewhere in that crowd, the two people who had never missed a milestone were once again on their feet. Because they hadn't just watched me become a filmmaker. They had helped me become the person I was always meant to be.